Okay, so this video is about taking off the yellow tape after you finished your collage. I'm talking real lightly because my baby is sleeping, so get used to it. First thing you want to do, now this is, ideally I want to use illustration board, but this is a pretty thick paper, and it seems to be working so far. I was concerned I was going to cut through the paper, but I'm not. So if you can see this little area here where there's a 1-inch border that I drew in before, it's a graphite line, and I can still see with the transparency of the tape the graphite line that I had there before. I'm going to put the ruler down. I'm going to line that up. I don't know if you can see that perfectly. I'll try to angle it over just a bit. So I'm lining this up with this and that line there. And I've layered my collage pretty thick, so I'm gonna have to press down hard on this, put all my body weight. And score. Now you don't want to do this until everything is dry. And I'm pressing the limits because I know this is a little damp. And otherwise, if it's not dry enough, it will tear and you're not going to get that clean edge I'm trying to achieve, as you see there. In this case, since I'm using this paper, if you're using Bristol board or something like that, don't want to cut through the Bristol board. And after that, like a surgeon, I'm going to peel it up. And you get this beautiful clean edge. It's a little hairy there, but I will try to clean that up later. And again, this is why when I make my collages, I like to go outside of the border, because when you crop it, it really makes everything nice and clean. And I'm going to take, now I have this line here and this line here. I'm going to line those two lines up. And it should line right with the tape that you put down previously. And you have yourself a nice clean edge. Do it again. You also want a super sharp blade, so change your blade. A dull blade will tear, and you might work a few hours on a collage, and then you find that you tear it off, and it's a very disappointing moment. And again, I'm just being really careful as I'm ripping. Ripped a little there. Okay. And there you go. There's a finished collage. And just to talk about design a little bit, let's take this confusing thing and put it somewhere else. So there's a few things I was doing here. Originally I had this as a negative shape, and it just evolved and evolved into something else. And each time you try to problem solve, you try to work with the position you put yourself in. I saw a curve I had here, so I continued that curve. I mimicked that curve in some other areas. I ripped off this piece of paper and I put this curve here, and I thought that was just kind of like another way of adding that curve. I didn't finish it, I just let the eye finish it. I saw some other formal characteristics here that I thought was something I could repeat, like this vertical line here. It also exists here. I repeated it here. I broke up that vertical line with a diagonal, but it's very subtle. And then on top of all that, I used paint from previous project, and I just did it intermix of the paint. At times it helps to like unite parts of the design. You have to integrate all this into one unified whole, and that's the tricky part. So this line here serves that purpose. It connects this, this, and this into one part, but yet they can live separately. I took a little graphite pencil and I kind of had some fun here with the graphite, and all said and done, I'm satisfied with it. I don't know what the next one's going to be yet, but I'm going to pop one in here. I do have this next idea that I just started, and as you can see here, this is just a interior of a gallery in a museum, and I cut out this orange piece of paper I had, and I used that as a wall. All I did was just copy the same diagonals. I ran out of a little space, so I just took this blue Post-it and I put it there. I don't know what my next move is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to try to incorporate some of what I'm doing here there, or am I going to go in a completely different direction, and that's just kind of the starting point. Because I am getting into some of these overlapping negative shapes, big flat color, contours. What I like about this is an intermixing of line, paint, mixed media is what you call it. Multiple layers of paper and textural components. This is just that, what is it? Just like a paper towel. This right here is a brown paper bag that was somewhat painted. So, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this guy, but we'll see what happens. And the one thing I'm a little upset about here is that I was unable to lay it down flat because I rushed through it. But now it's just going to be a part of the design. I might get a book or something and really let it dry out and flatten out so these lines just like fold down. And it might look aged, so I can go with that. Or if I ever put paint on top of this in some way, like a transparency, you can just take this in a lot of water and do a transparency. It might pick up some of those textural components so you have a little texture to it. So you can make it work. You can always make something work. That's what I wanted to show.